dev teams need to have a coordinated point of entry for work into the team so that it's not just utter chaos. Now, that's not dissimilar to an airfield that needs to have a standard point of entry or a couple for aircraft to come in so that everybody doesn't just, fly over and dive at the runway, which would be the same as in your dev team, just a bunch of work, arriving from many different parts of the business, from your salespeople, from customer service, maybe from customers, from the owner, from the product owner, all over the place, just into an uncoordinated mess that will end up in a crash. That's what this video is about. Hi, I'm Peter Cronin, author of PACE, and in these videos I'm combining my passion of helping software companies to scale without losing the magic and my passion of flying to hopefully use aviation analogies to clarify and enhance some of the aspects of PACE. So it's going to be a lot of fun for me. I hope you get something out of it as well. All right, so I'll start with the analogy. We were looking at an airfield. Now, the one I'm going to talk about is what's called Bankstown here in Sydney. So you've got obviously the major airport, Sydney International. Now, the second biggest airport, or busiest airport in Sydney is Bankstown, and that's mostly a general aviation and training airport, bit of freight, all this sort of thing. Your smaller airports. Now, because it's not the big international flights, which work a bit differently in these small airports dealing with smaller aircraft at least, it could be utter chaos if you imagine the runway and you just have planes coming in from all sorts of directions and trying to hit it. In fact, if you've ever played the iPhone or whatever game, it's air traffic control or whatever it is, you have a feeling for how hard that is to coordinate. So instead, what they have is two inbound points. So you have one, which is a reservoir, looks like a large lake from the air, very easy to spot, and the other over here is a radio mast, which is both quite high and also has quite a flat area around it. It's also relatively easy to spot. It's next to a major interchange as well, so relatively easy to find. What's key is aircraft can only come into Bankstown via one of these two lanes of entry. The benefit to that, of course, being if you have to come either from here, and you can get to that reservoir however you want. So you've got multiple aircraft coming from all sorts of different angles coming to this reservoir, and then you can head for the airfield. Same, coming in over this radio mast, and you can join there. And of course, aircraft using their radios, talking to the tower, but also seeing where each other is at. And it's not too hard to sequence coming in to land on the runway when you've got just these 2 points of entry. Everything's collecting towards these 2 points. If you just had everybody coming in from whatever angle at the runway, as I said in the intro, it would be utter chaos and probably a lot of crashes, and certainly a lot of hold-ups with miscoordinating everything. So now to jump back to our dev team, this is also critical for a dev team. You don't want, and if you're, I'm going to say dev team for the runway, but if you're following along with PACE, you'll know realistically the runway is actually our bottleneck. No matter how many planes we have inbound, we're going to be basically gated by how many we can have flow through the airport by the runway and their access to it. So again, that's like our bottleneck, our most senior developer in our dev team. Now for work to come in here, we don't want it coming from just a million different sources where, the sprint or however your planning work is planned, the project's planned, you might have the product owner managing that, but then, I don't know, the owner or a senior salesperson comes in, I just need you to do this, or I just need you to do that, or this work comes in from another team, can you do this, or I've got a big sales meeting. All of these various reasons for work to just randomly be done. And that again causes utter chaos. Whereas if you can reduce it down to a couple of entry points, massively controls that. So let's say this is like stuff coming from the roadmap that's managed by our product owner. They're going to be able to keep control on this, and you might have this work over here being work that comes, say, from your there might be bugs that come in, and that's a coordinated fashion. As long as people have to raise bugs, whether it's the customer service team or sales or customers, if they all raise bugs in the same fashion, raise say a ticket for a bug, then that allows a coordinated point of entry for all the types of bugs, and we've got a coordinated point of entry for any features or anything. And then essentially you've got your tower. Your tower, which is your product owner, and they are controlling the inbound work to the team. So there you go. There's a reason why those are in place for runways, because if they don't, there's a trail of blood. And in dev teams, not quite as dramatic, but similar in that if we don't control the flow of work into the team, the work the team does will be utter chaos and highly unproductive as well. So there you go. You want a couple of inbound points. You want that to be controlled and managed by ideally a single source, product owner or manager. But everything gets coordinated, and it's very easy to sequence and have a smooth flow of work. If you can have a smooth flow of work into the team that's uninterrupted and people can focus on what they're doing, you're going to get a smooth output of the team as well, where there's not too much work in progress, there's not pick up, put down, and there's not all this chaos. It's just, okay, this is the next thing to do, we execute that and we move on.